Hey English learners, welcome back to the English Podcast, your cozy little place to learn easy English through real everyday conversations. Tonight we're talking about something almost everyone struggles with, calming your mind at night. It's one of those quiet, universal battles. You close your eyes and suddenly your brain decides it's the perfect time to replay old memories, worry about tomorrow, or remind you of that email you forgot to send 3 weeks ago. Nobody asked for this service, and yet it shows up every single night free of charge. So today we're looking at why this happens and, more importantly, what actually helps. Real practical tools, not just drink some chamomile tea and good luck. Although we will mention chamomile tea before we're done because it does deserve a small place in this conversation. Before we get into today's topic, though, we want to share something quick. Over the past few weeks, we've heard the same thing again and again from learners, people who understand English well, who know a lot of vocabulary, who have studied for years. But when someone asks them a simple everyday question, their mind suddenly goes blank. Not because they don't understand, but because they can't find their way to an answer that feels natural, with a little detail, a little feeling, an answer that actually sounds like them. That stayed with us, so we built something for exactly that moment. It's called the English Leap Answer Builder, a calm speaking course that helps you turn short answers into warmer, fuller answers step by step. No complicated lessons, no pressure, just simple formulas, useful phrases, and speaking practice you can actually use. You'll practice building real answers slowly, moving from something small to something more natural, confident, and personal, with plenty of speak-along practice, so you're not just reading answers, you're saying them out loud. It's a paid course, but if you're an English Leap Club member, it's already included in your membership, and if you'd rather not join the club, you can get the Answer Builder separately. Either way, you'll walk away with practical speaking practice that helps you build longer, clearer, more confident answers, and your support helps us keep making calm conversations and useful lessons for this community. You'll find the link in the description below. Small answers today, big conversations tomorrow. That's what we want for you. Now let's talk about calming the mind at night. The obvious question first: why does this even happen? Why does the mind get so loud right when we're trying to rest? The answer is simpler than you'd think. During the day, we're too busy to really listen to it. There are messages, conversations, traffic, work, family, and 100 small distractions pulling our attention in every direction, so the brain never really gets a quiet moment to speak. The night comes, the lights go off, no one is talking, and suddenly your thoughts have all the space in the world. The brain finally gets the room to itself, and naturally it chooses the worst possible topic. It's as if your worries have been waiting all day for the microphone, and the moment things go quiet, they finally get their turn. This is often where anxiety shows up too, that heavy, worried feeling that can range from something small, like wondering if you forgot to do something, to something much heavier and harder to name. At night, the brain seems to think, oh, the room is quiet now, perfect, let's bring in all the worries. And in a strange way, there's something reassuring in understanding this pattern. It feels good to know you're not the only one, that this isn't a sign your mind is uniquely broken, but rather something many people experience, because nighttime is often the very first quiet moment the brain gets all day. So the better question isn't why is my brain like this, but why do so many brains behave this way once everything goes quiet? That small shift in thinking can help you stop blaming yourself for something that's actually a very common human experience. Many people replay old, sometimes embarrassing moments at night, moments that already happened and can't be changed or fixed, which is exactly why it can help to gently tell your mind, not tonight, we are not doing this now. Before we go further into the world of thoughts, though, we have to talk about something that makes all of this worse for a lot of people: phones in bed. Scrolling right before sleep is essentially the opposite of calming your mind, because you're feeding your brain more information right when it's supposed to be slowing down. That said, phones aren't always the villain here. Watching something light and easy, like a short, funny video, can genuinely feel relaxing for some people. But even light content can keep your brain more awake than you'd expect, because the screen, the movement, and the promise of just one more video all send the same message to your brain: stay awake, there's more coming. The real issue usually isn't the phone itself, but what you're doing on it. There's a big difference between watching one short, silly video and falling into doom scrolling, that habit of scrolling endlessly through negative or stressful content, bad news, scary posts, or online arguments, where you open your phone for 1 minute and somehow end up reading unsettling headlines for half an hour. Doom scrolling is essentially feeding your brain problems right before sleep, and then we wonder why our minds won't calm down afterward. The point isn't to ban phones completely, it's to avoid chaos before sleep. The question worth asking isn't simply, should I use my phone? But what kind of feeling am I giving my mind before I try to rest? A calm feeling or a chaos feeling? That distinction matters more than most people realize, because even when our bodies are resting in bed, our minds can still be very much out in the world, absorbing messages, opinions, and other people's lives right up until the moment we try to sleep. Now let's talk about racing thoughts, because this is something so many people deal with. One thought arrives, then another, jumping from tomorrow's meeting to whether you locked the door to something you said years ago to what you might forget tomorrow. Racing thoughts are simply fast thoughts that keep coming one after another, refusing to slow down even when your body clearly wants rest. One tool that genuinely helps here is something simple called a brain dump, writing down everything in your mind. Worries, tasks, reminders, random thoughts, so your brain doesn't have to hold on to all of it by itself. Often your mind keeps repeating certain things because part of it is worried you'll forget them. So when you write them down, your brain can finally relax a little, because that information isn't only living in your head anymore, it's somewhere safe. It's a way of telling your brain, I've got this, you can stop guarding it now. And a brain dump doesn't need to look like a gratitude journal, especially if gratitude isn't what you're feeling at 11 at night. It can be a worry list, a frustration list, or simply a list of things you need to remember tomorrow. It doesn't need beautiful handwriting or perfect grammar or deep, profound thoughts. The goal isn't to write beautifully, it's to empty your mind a little, to give those thoughts somewhere else to go besides looping endlessly in your head. It's worth pausing here to say something important. Sometimes a racing mind at night isn't just about having had a busy day. Sometimes it's connected to real anxiety or stress that has been building for a long time, or to something heavier that deserves more attention than a podcast can offer. Breathing exercises and brain dumps are useful, everyday tools, but they aren't a substitute for professional support. And if someone is lying awake every night feeling scared, overwhelmed, or unable to function well during the day, it's more than okay to speak to a professional about it. There's no shame in that at all. What we're sharing here is gentle, everyday support, not a cure-all. And it's worth saying clearly that some advice online can make it sound like 5 deep breaths will make anxiety disappear forever, when real life is rarely that simple. Some nights these tools work well, some nights they help a little, and some nights you need more support than any tool can offer, and that's completely okay. Calming your mind isn't about achieving perfection, it's about trying small things and noticing gently and without judgment what actually helps you. Let's shift to something a little more practical, the sleep environment itself, starting with temperature, which turns out to matter more than people expect, along with darkness. Even a small amount of light from a charger, a hallway, or a phone screen can make it harder to truly wind down, because light tends to keep the brain alert and ready to notice things, when what we actually want at night is for the brain to understand that the day is ending. A bright, noisy room tells your brain to stay awake, while a dark, quiet room sends the opposite message, that it's safe to rest. Of course, different people need different sleep environments. Some prefer it cool, some prefer it warm, some need silence, others prefer a little background sound. The goal was never to copy someone else's perfect nighttime routine, but to notice what helps your own body and mind feel safe enough to actually rest. So the idea in the end is simple. Don't fight your mind at night, give it somewhere softer to land. If you'd like to practice today's vocabulary and sentences, you'll find the transcript, vocabulary exercises, quizzes, games, and shadowing practice inside the English Leap Club. Let's slow down and review the strongest words from today's conversation. The first is racing thoughts, fast thoughts that keep coming one after another, jumping restlessly even when your body is tired, as in, I couldn't sleep because I had racing thoughts about tomorrow's meeting. The next is brain dump, the practice of writing down everything in your mind, from worries to tasks to random reminders, as in, I did a brain dump before bed and it helped me stop replaying my to-do list. Next is anxiety, a strong, worried, or nervous feeling that can feel especially loud at night when everything else goes quiet, as in, my anxiety gets worse when I'm trying to fall asleep. Then there's reassuring, meaning something that makes you feel less worried, often because you realize you're not the only one experiencing something, as in, it was reassuring to know that other people have racing thoughts too. Next is doom scrolling, which means scrolling through negative or stressful content for an extended period of time, as in, doom scrolling before bed made my mind feel more anxious. And finally, wired, meaning very awake, alert, or full of nervous energy, often paired confusingly with exhaustion, as in, I was tired but I still felt wired. These words matter because naming a feeling accurately often makes it easier to talk about, and sometimes even easier to be kind to ourselves about. Now let's take a few common learner sentences about sleep, stress, and overthinking, and give them more natural, polished phrasing. Instead of saying, my brain is not stopping, a more natural way to express this is, my mind won't calm down tonight, softer, more fluid, and less like you're fighting against yourself. Instead of I am thinking too much, try I'm overthinking everything right now, or my thoughts keep racing, both of which sound like something a person would genuinely say late at night. Instead of I cannot sleep because many thoughts come, a smoother version is, I can't sleep because my thoughts keep racing, short, natural, and emotionally clear. Instead of I watched phone too much, you could say I spent too much time scrolling on my phone, and if the content was particularly negative, I stayed up. Doom scrolling captures that more specific, more draining experience. Instead of I'm tired but not sleepy, a more natural phrase is, I'm exhausted but I still feel wired. a sentence that perfectly captures the frustrating gap between physical tiredness and mental alertness. And finally, instead of the somewhat harsh "I need to stop thinking," which frames your own thoughts as an enemy to defeat, a kinder version is "I need to give my mind a place to rest," which reflects a gentler, more compassionate way of guiding your thoughts rather than fighting them. So tonight, if you'd like to try one small thing, consider a brain dump, a little less doom scrolling, or simply a darker room. And if old memories or nagging tasks try to pull your attention just as you're trying to rest, it's okay to gently tell your mind, "Not tonight, we can talk tomorrow." Sleep well, English learners, and we'll see you in the next episode.